everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome. For all one new here, welcome. For those who have been here with me a while, you know my name is Francisca Brackin. It has been a while since I posted a video because these days I've been busy in particular, but I don't want to be so busy that I forget to do what the Lord said to do, right? And He spoke to me this message about a couple days back, right? And I hope I can deliver it the way how He intended it to be, right? He said, he brought my memory back to something, and he said, I was having some problems with certain things, right? And he said, Francine, there are certain things that you can't carry the Ark of the Covenant on flesh. You can't carry the Ark of the Covenant on flesh, in your flesh. And he showed me this analogy now with when David was carrying the Ark of the Covenant back to I believe it's Jerusalem. David was carrying back the Ark of the Covenant back home to him. And remember, when who don't know it, go and look it up, is in Kings, or you could Google it, or wherever it is when the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark stumbled upon the ox, and we saw the part when the Lord broke out on Uriah and killed Uriah. And the Lord was telling me, He said, Francine, do you know why that happened? He said, because when you go on lower down, when David come back again and he put the ark out of fear in the house of Obadiah, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, when he went and he put the ark there and the house prospered, he went back and he said, I want the Ark of the Covenant with me. And he beseeched the Lord to tell him now how to carry this thing that He has given him, how to carry the Ark of the Covenant back, how to successfully carry it. Because he was carrying it, but he did not consult the Lord on how to carry the Ark of the Covenant. And the ox stumbled, and then you see Uriah died. And David was frightened. So David, in the second time that he consulted the Lord, and you can Google up these things, I'm going to try to see if I put the exact chapter for you all, right? The second time he said, okay, I want this thing with me, Lord. But he, instead of just doing it off of his own, he asked the Lord, Lord, how do I carry the Ark of the Covenant, your ark, back? Because we saw the last time when I carried the ark back that you broke out on Uriah, that the ox stumbled. We saw the ox stumble, and when the ox stumbled now, excuse me, that is the Holy Spirit, for who don't know it, like I always say, Google that, right? When the ox stumbled now, we saw that. So he intended now, he said, listen, I don't want to carry this thing and something like this happen again. So he consulted the Lord, how do I carry this thing that you have given me? And the Lord began to tell me this, and he said, watch, excuse me, I don't know why I'm having these things. Watch what he told David. He gave David these specific instructions and said, David, go and carry this thing, but I want you to use the priest to carry these things. And he put two poles around the box, which was the Ark of the Covenant, and the priest carried the box upon their shoulders. And the Lord began to tell me something, and he said, Francine, the reason why I'm showing you these two different things, the way how they stumbled the first time that David was carrying the ark and the ox stumbled, and the second time when he consulted me, when he did it the right way, how he got success in this area. And the Lord began to tell me, he said, Francis, because there's a particular way of carrying what I have given you. There's a particular way to carry what I have given you. He said, because certain things you cannot carry in flesh, certain things you cannot carry on an ox, certain things. And he began to say, when I say flesh, right, because many people don't understand flesh, I'm going to give you the understanding of when I say flesh. He says certain things you cannot carry in flesh. If you look back from the beginning of creation, when Adam and Eve had fallen, the Lord wrapped them, made the first animal sacrifice and put the animal skin upon them. And he began to tell me, he said, Francine, do you know why I put animal skin upon them? Because it was representative. If you know, you look in the back then when he made the temple, when Solomon made the temple for him, he made the design of the temple here on earth to represent the design of how his throne room is in heaven. He said certain things I do as symbolism. So he said the skin that he put on Adam and Eve now, that represented the animal skin. He said the reason why I put that, and I in a sense he was saying that now you are just like animals when they eat of the fruit of knowledge good and evil. He said because just like animals don't think, they don't use wisdom to do certain things. Animals go on their emotions, on their feelings. And he said no, Adam and Eve had fallen and they had become just like animals. So the animal skin that the Lord shrouded them in was just representation of who they would now be operating like, which is just like the animal, not moving in decision but moving on their instincts and on their emotions. And he say this bring me back now to why you cannot carry, oh God, this is when I say flesh, this is what this mean. Flesh mean you go on your feelings, what this thing here, to what you think and what you feel. And he said, oh, when they were carrying this thing now, they were carrying the Ark of the Covenant. He said, when they were carrying the Ark of the Covenant, he said certain things you cannot carry up in yourself, you can't carry in your flesh. You have to now sacrifice that flesh. The flesh is your instinct, your feelings. He said, because you cannot carry the if you see these things and you see the Ark of the Covenant had in Aaron's staff that budded. It had in the 10 Commandments. It had in the pot with the manna that the Lord provide for them. He says certain things you can't carry dealing up in self and in your emotions. He said because the flesh will stumble. And he said why did the priest was the one that carried it out? He said the priest is the one that sacrificed the flesh. Okay, yes. Do you understand what I say now? The priest is the one that sacrificed the flesh. He says certain things you can't carry in your emotion. You have to be like the priest after the order of Melchizedek. You have to be like the priest, like after the priest of the order of Melchizedek. Sacrifice all of your emotions on yourself to be able to carry certain things that the Lord have given you. He said, or else you will stumble with that thing. You wouldn't be able to carry it. He said, if you look at Aaron's staff that budded, the staff represent directions from the Lord. It's something that he used to give directions to the sheep to correct them, but to also protect them. He said you cannot go, oh God, rely on the Lord protection or the Lord guidance, oh God, dealing up in yourself and in your emotions. He said the manna was food that they depend on the Lord to provide for them each day. And he said you cannot depend on the Lord to provide for you each day dealing up in yourself. He said it will be second guessing if the Lord is going to do it if you deal up in yourself. So he said you have to give up flesh. He said, oh God and my Redeemer, the 10 Commandments was the law on knowing right from wrong. He said yes, we don't deal up in the 10 Commandments now in the law because Christ come and grace come down. But he said, oh listen, the 10 Commandments come down for a reason, because it showed before the 10 Commandments was there, we did not know right from wrong. We were moving and going through some stuff because we didn't know what was right and what was wrong. So he said, oh, the 10 Commandments, if you don't sacrifice flesh, you will not be able to carry out any of the 10 Commandments. It's not saying that you live by them, but it is something that the Lord Jesus Christ did not rule out. He said, I did not come to abolish the law, but I come to, oh God and my Redeemer, he come to bring grace. He does not come to say, oh, you shouldn't do right, you shouldn't do certain things or whatever it is, and you should go and steal or whatever and the Lord will forgive you. You should go and lie and you should go and do all of these things. He's saying no, I did not come to abolish that and say it's okay to do it. But he said if you stumble and if you fumble with these things, he said my blood come now to overlook these things. And don't say to yourself, okay, I'm going to do these things because Christ Jesus' blood come to overlook these things. He said the blood come now, oh God and my Redeemer, for a sinner that is fumbling and that is stumbling in these areas to know that, oh God, adjustment for your kingdom. A just man falls 7 times but rises up again. Not for the presumptuous sinners that say, okay, I'm going to do it, but the Lord will forgive me for it. But for the ones who's trying to keep the law, but yet still falling. He said, this is when grace come about. This is when Christ Jesus' blood stepped in. So he said, oh God, give me this. So he says, certain things you cannot carry dealing up in your emotions and in self. You can't carry out these things. You wouldn't be able to walk in these things, to rely on God's provision, just like they did with the pot of manna. Each morning, manna used to fall, and they used to go and pick up those things because the Lord was getting them to understand that I am the one that provides for all of your needs, and get them to trust them that the next day you're going to do it, and the next day, Lord, you're going to do it. And he said, you're not going to be able to rely on him like that, and to be able to trust in his provision, dealing up in yourself and in your emotions. He said, oh, you have to sacrifice sacrifice, that this is why the priest was the one that was able to carry out these things. Because if you look back then, the ox represented the flesh. They used to put the sins upon the ox, which represent their self that fall from grace, right? They used to put their sins on the ox, and they have something called the scapegoat. This was where they put their sin on an animal and they sent out the animal. It was representative of self, the emotional self that fall from God. When we eat of that and we fall, we become just like the animals, moving in our instinct. This is why you see individuals unable to control their sexual instinct. They're just humping wherever it is, because we just feel so, and they're unable, and then you see all of these, premature stuff come about, or wherever it is. You say because they were moving in their instinct. And the Lord, now this is when you see fasting and all these different things come about, because the fasting is not I go and just fast because I want it. The fast is there for the main thing is to have self-control over self. This is when you take away the animalistic part of you and you regain back your crown over this vessel that is called emotions and self. Sorry you guys, I know I'm basically teaching and I'm preaching. But the Lord say will not be able to carry his work to do certain things. If you're hearing that, it's just my list, and I have a little cold. It's not COVID, people. Calm down. Right? So he says certain things you will not be able to do if you do not sacrifice your flesh and everything that you see. You will not be able to carry it out. Because I was fumbling with some stuff, and he said, Francine, the reason why you're fumbling, you're dealing up in your emotions. You taking commandment, you dealing up in your emotions. You still dealing up in where you think and where you feel. And he said, this is when you have to now go into self and sacrifice your flesh and be like the priest. What sacrifice your flesh mean? Give up all where you feel and where you think, and rely on the word. Remember, without faith it is impossible to please God. Give up all where you feel and where you think about, oh Lord, but it didn't look like that, like you're going to bring it to pass. Give up that. Because his word says, he shall supply all of my needs according to his riches in glory. Lord, all kind of thing. I wonder if I could be protected from so much diseases and all kind of thing that will come about. He said, oh God, do not fear for the terror that flieth at noonday. Read Psalms 91. He will give you power to trample upon the backs of the snakes and the scorpions. So much enemies around. He will give you power to trample upon the snakes, the backs of the snake and the scorpions. He said, thou I prepare the table before you in the presence of your enemies. And I am not in the presence of your enemies, in the presence of them. Oh, let them watch you. The Lord liked, oh God, they are there for a purpose, to watch you eat in the presence of them. They ain't going to stop your bread and butter, oh darling. They ain't stopping your bread and butter. In the presence, they're going to watch you eat. They're going to watch your eyes in the presence of them. They prepare a table for you to eat in the presence of them. They go and watch you eat and fumble and be hating or wherever and be wherever it is and still be the enemy self and still trying to pull it on, and they go and still watch you eat. Still no weapon formed against you, still ain't going to prosper. But you see, after you can't be dealing up in self. Lord, it didn't look so. Sacrifice the flesh. All your emotions. You aren't one that is driven with emotions. Because your emotions is fleeting, they change. 1 minute you ever hear some people, oh God, I love this person, so like next minute they don't. It's fleeting. 1 minute you feel to do this, next minute you feel to it's fleeting. The only thing that stand and remain, like the word of the Lord say, my word shall not return unto me void. That is the only thing that stay. That is the only thing that remain. Even though the Lord don't have feelings, matter of fact. He don't have feelings that, okay, I feel to bless you this day. He said once he give his word shall not come back to him void. This is why he don't make promises just to any and anyone. He make promises that he watches over to perform. He made a promise to Abraham, and he made a promise to individuals that he know. He don't just throw out his word just so, because he know when he speak a word, he's a God of integrity. I'm going to do just what I say I'm going to do. So if he has given you a promise and a word, that mean regardless if you feel it going to happen or it ain't going to happen, it shall come to pass. It shall not return unto him void. But he said in order for you to be able to keep this word, because you and God have to work together. In order for you to keep this word, you have to sacrifice all what you feel and all what you think. You have to sacrifice your flesh. It can't be one dealing up like an animal. Praise the mighty name El Shaddai God. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna stop the message here, right? That is a word from the Lord. Like I always say, Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, love you, love you, love. That word was so powerful, you guys. I could barely even end the video because I'm feeling the Lord so much, His presence so much, you know. But you got some, I believe I educate you all on some stuff, right? So you'll be able to understand how I'm speaking and what, when I say flesh and all these things. Because remember, we can't just stay on breast milk. Paul say, the, you were supposed to be able to be eating more than just milk, but you still need milk. So I'm trying to, build you all up to be able to now eat harder food, to be able to get your brain to be able to stretch, to understand what I'm saying. Because sometimes it's not that I'm saying foolishness or whatever, but the level that I'm on is a little bit higher than certain things. If you know it, have grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and all these different levels. Some other countries have standards and all these things. It have grade standard 1, standard 2, standard 3. It have different standards, as should women and individuals have standards, right? This is just something that come about. The Lord say women should have standards. I don't know why He just tell me to say that, but He said that we should have standards. Just like it have standard 1 and standard 2, you should have some standards. I don't know what that was about. But it have grade 1, grade 2, and all these different standards is the same thing, right? My level might be on a standard 5 or a standard wherever it is, because I've been in the word of the Lord for a while now, for a good while now. So I might be, I might know certain things than the believer that just now come and starting to know that Jesus Christ was hung up on a cross and He died for us. I might know more than that. I might be a little bit more advanced in knowing the Bible. So it doesn't mean that I'm speaking foolishness. It's just sometimes it's a little bit it's a little bit higher, you understand? It's a little bit higher than what you know, right? So take baby steps, and as you know the Bible more, you'll be able to understand certain things that I'm saying, Lord, because certain things where I used to, fumble and not understand certain, other preachers, when before I came to knowing the Lord this much, certain things I fumbled with, and I noticed over the years and stuff, I began to understand them more, and it's because the Lord had increased my understanding. But this is something that don't beat up yourself that you don't understand this and you don't understand that. It's something sometimes we have to. This is why we are the ones that break down the word of the Lord for you. We are the ones that break it down. We help to crush up the food, like when you're crushing up food for a baby, crush up provision, and they crush up you crush up bananas. I don't know who know about the old school way, but my mom, crush up, mommy used to say crush up this, and crush up English potato and egg, and giving you all some, some for mothers out there, you could take some notes, right? Crush up potato and all these provision and all these things. We the ones that the Lord have develop us to now come off of breast milk, and we are develop our senses is developed to be able to crush stuff. It's like when you get all your baby teeth come out, and put in adult teeth, you'll be able to eat and crush up, bigger things. Our baby mind setting in the word of the Lord has increased, right? So we now grow teeth, understanding that it's hard to be able to crush, if you understand what I'm trying to explain to you, to be able to crush up the word of the Lord, to break it down for you all, to give you a better understanding of this thing is not that complicated when you really develop in the word. So when we really develop in the word and we get teeth, spiritual teeth, to be able to crush, the word, to be able to understand the word, we crush it up and we give you like my little babies. I'm young, so I don't know, we give you understand? So it's like that. But anyway, this is the message from the Lord, and like I always tell you guys, stay blessed, stay strong. I'm going to try my best to put out some more videos more often, but you guys, like I always say, and remember to always subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, go and subscribe. It really encourages me, right? Okay, bye guys.